Imagine becoming so good at hacking that the US Secret Service paid you $75,000 a year to help catch other cyber criminals. Then imagine using that insider knowledge to betray them and steal 170 million credit card numbers instead. Albert Gonzalez didn't just imagine it, he lived it. How could someone with so many second chances still choose the path of destruction? Albert Gonzalez grew up in Miami during the late 1980s and 1990s. A city humming with diversity and brimming with contrasts. His family lived a modest life, and while his parents hoped for a bright future for their son, Gonzalez found solace in something else entirely: computers. By the time he was 12, he wasn't just tinkering with video games or playing around in school computer labs. He was methodically teaching himself the ins and outs of operating systems, networks, and coding. While his peers obsessed over sports or hung out at malls, Gonzalez was cultivating an entirely different kind of expertise. To the kids in his circle, he wasn't just another tech-savvy teenager, he was the guy who could figure out anything. By 14, this reputation had already taken on a life of its own. Gonzalez's first major feat wasn't just impressive, it was historic. Equipped with nothing more than a home computer and a boundless curiosity, he hacked into NASA's systems. This wasn't a casual intrusion either. Gonzalez's hack forced the agency to shut down several of their computer systems for weeks out of fear that classified data had been compromised. At just 14, Gonzalez had already proven that no firewall or security protocol could stand against his ingenuity. This moment wasn't just a display of his technical skill, it also revealed something deeper. An appetite for control, a thrill in exposing vulnerabilities, and a willingness to cross ethical boundaries. The NASA hack made him notorious among the small but growing circle of online hackers at the time. Long before social media, forums and chat rooms served as the digital frontier for technologically inclined youths like Gonzalez. In these spaces, Gonzalez thrived. He wasn't just participating, he was leading. He became an active part of online communities that shared tips on cracking security systems, hiding digital footprints, and exploiting overlooked software weaknesses. His charisma and sharp intellect naturally placed him at the helm of these groups. But it wasn't just about making friends or solving puzzles. Gonzalez was learning the ways of a burgeoning online underground world where technical expertise could be weaponized for profit. Before long, Gonzalez started exploring his first serious act of cybercrime. By the time most kids his age were stressing about homework, he was busy using stolen credit card numbers to fund his growing interests. He'd buy video games, expensive computer parts, and other luxuries his family couldn't afford. To someone like him, this wasn't just about material gain. It was proof of his ability to outsmart systems put in place by people far older and more experienced than he was. Hacking and fraud didn't feel like crimes. They were victories. But Gonzalez didn't stop at defacing websites or running up fraudulent charges. While others might stop at petty crimes, he was already thinking bigger. In the early 2000s, Gonzalez became one of the founding members of ShadowCrew, one of the most infamous cybercrime forums of its time. ShadowCrew wasn't just a loose collection of hackers bragging about their exploits. It was, in many ways, the precursor to the professionalized cybercrime networks we see today. The site offered tutorials on how to hack systems, launder money, or even buy blank cards that could be encoded with stolen data. It enforced strict rules and even hierarchy, with Gonzalez at the center of its operations. ShadowCrew wasn't just about stealing, it was about building an entire ecosystem for cybercriminals. And Gonzalez had rapidly cemented himself as one of its most influential figures. His rise, however, came with consequences. In 2003, years before his involvement in major financial crimes, Gonzalez's activities had already earned him the attention of law enforcement. He was arrested for accessing data illegally and orchestrating credit card fraud. But here's where things took a curious turn. Instead of serving time, Gonzalez offered something in return. He agreed to cooperate with the Secret Service, revealing key details about ShadowCrew's operations and other hacking techniques. For more than a year, he worked as an informant, seemingly having left his criminal past behind. Unbeknownst to the authorities, though, Gonzalez wasn't the repentant prodigy they believed he was. While playing the role of an informant, he was busy learning just how law enforcement tracked cybercriminals. This knowledge didn't lead to a new career of redemption, it armed him for what came next. Gonzalez's cooperation with the Secret Service painted him, at least temporarily, as reformed, but the seeds of his betrayal were already sown. These early years of Albert Gonzalez's career have all the ingredients of a cautionary tale: untapped brilliance, ambition, and the temptation to bend rules. His first brush with fame in the hacking world was marked by his ability to identify and exploit the vulnerabilities of even the most secure systems. Yet, even with this unparalleled skill and opportunities to change course, Gonzalez couldn't resist the allure of deeper, darker waters. Why? Perhaps he'd already crossed the point of no return. This path of talent and betrayal would soon culminate in the largest credit card theft the world had ever seen. At the height of his operation, Albert Gonzalez wasn't just stealing credit card numbers, he was pulling off cybercrimes of unprecedented scale. Between 2005 and 2007, Gonzalez orchestrated the theft and resale of over 170 million credit and ATM card numbers, a feat that, to this day, remains the largest credit card fraud case in history. Yet what stands out about his crimes wasn't just their scale, but the precision and strategy behind them. Take the case of TJX Companies, the retail giant that owns chains like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. Gonzalez and his accomplices infiltrated their systems and over 18 painstaking months stole 45.6 million card numbers. Using a method called war driving, they roamed the streets with laptops, scanning for vulnerabilities in wireless networks. In the parking lots of stores, they managed to breach systems along US Route 1 in Miami. Once inside, Gonzalez deployed a combination of techniques, including sniffing for data packets and exploiting unencrypted transmissions, to illegally extract customer information. It wasn't brute force, it was elegant in its simplicity. The longer they remained undetected, the more card information they could harvest. But Gonzalez wasn't satisfied. He wanted bigger targets. Heartland payment systems, a payment processor responsible for handling transactions for millions of businesses, became the next victim. Gonzalez and his team used SQL injection, a type of attack that exploits data inputs on websites to install backdoors in corporate systems. Once inside, they implemented malware capable of intercepting transaction data. They even went so far as to test their programs against 20 antivirus systems to ensure they could stay undetected. The attack on Heartland began on December 26, 2007, and ultimately compromised a staggering 130 million card numbers. Gonzalez referred to this operation as "Get Rich or Die Trying," a name revealing his confidence and ruthlessness. Gonzalez's methods were not haphazard. He and his network studied corporate infrastructure, targeting checkout terminals and transaction systems. They disguised the origins of their attacks by routing them through servers located in countries like Latvia, the Netherlands, and Ukraine. They even used encrypted communication channels and multiple screen names including Supnazi and Segvech to coordinate and share stolen data. Maintaining anonymity was as critical to their success as the heists themselves. The fallout from his crimes was devastating. TJX Companies faced significant backlash. When the company eventually discovered the breach in December 2006, the scale of the intrusion, stretching back to mid-2005, shocked both the public and industry experts. Beyond the financial loss, which included lawsuits from banks and fines from regulatory agencies, TJX suffered a severe hit to its reputation. Customers felt betrayed, questioning their security whenever they swiped at a TJ Maxx or Marshall's checkout line. Heartland payment systems fared no better. The magnitude of their data breach caused ripple effects across the financial industry. Heartland reported financial losses totaling $12.6 million, including legal defenses, but the true consequences were even broader. The hack served as a wake-up call about vulnerabilities in payment processing systems. Companies worldwide began scrutinizing their infrastructure, rushing to implement better encryption practices and stricter security protocols. In many ways, Gonzalez exposed systemic weaknesses that went far beyond any single company. What's striking about Gonzalez during this time wasn't just his brilliance in circumventing complex systems, but how he viewed his crimes. He wasn't stealing for survival or even necessity. He was driven by greed and ego. Even as he coordinated these breaches, Gonzalez was living lavishly. He stored duffel bags of cash in his apartment and threw extravagant parties in Miami, flaunting wealth that no job or legitimate income could explain. In some ways, his spectacle of success became his undoing, but for years he seemed untouchable. Law enforcement for a long time had no idea who was behind these coordinated attacks. Gonzalez's ability to cover his tracks and spread his operations across multiple jurisdictions made detection incredibly difficult. To make matters even more complicated, he was already a known informant for the Secret Service. Using what he learned from his work with law enforcement, Gonzalez stayed one step ahead for years, exploiting growing blind spots in cybersecurity. But there's only so much cover even a skilled hacker like Gonzalez could maintain. As his operations grew larger, so did the attention from law enforcement and cybersecurity experts. Every stolen card, every breached system left a trail, no matter how faint. His greed pushed him to take on bigger and bigger targets, but with greater risk came the inevitability of exposure. How does someone who worked alongside the very agencies chasing criminals like him manage to walk such a dangerous line? Gonzalez's dual identity as both hacker and informant was what enabled him to operate unchecked for so long. Yet in the world of cybercrime, betrayal has a way of writing its own ending. Albert Gonzalez had everything needed to be a cybersecurity hero. His skills could have secured systems, protected millions of people, and helped stop digital threats. Instead, he chose destruction, exploiting vulnerabilities for personal gain. His $170 million spree left companies scrambling to rebuild and forced industries to rethink security, leading to stricter standards like PCI DSS. Gonzalez's story isn't just about crime, it's about wasted potential and the cost of unchecked greed. So what do you think? Does genius always walk this fine line? Leave a comment with your take and who you'd like to see us profile next. The world of hacking waits. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more deep dives into the world of tech and cybercrime.